Connie Bennett claims that 85% of people suffer from low self-esteem. That is from ConnieB.com. This stems also from a lack of self-love. With so many people feeling this way, I decided to reflect back on myself, and I came to the conclusion that I do lack self-love a little bit. So I decided to do my self-improvement presentation on Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It by Kamal Ravikant. There were many different new techniques and skills that we learned in this course that apply to the book. The first of those were the different listening skills that we learned, and there were also many ideas, and some of those were the self-concept, self-awareness, and self-esteem. Ravikant makes many different techniques and tips that helped him throughout this process. So he said we first need to open up with ourselves, we next need to say I love myself out loud, and lastly we need to lie to ourselves. So he first says that we need to be open with ourselves. By this he says we need to be present and to not cut out feelings that we have, whether those feelings are good or bad. We have to fake a lot of these feelings until it's real, with being happy with everything and feeling love towards ourselves, but it'll eventually feel normal. He also said that once we feel open, it will start to feel natural and it will make us a little happier in life. He lastly said that meditation helped for him. He had two different ways of doing this. He would first either go like in a quiet place in his house and put his earphones in and listen to a song that kind of helped him feel like peaceful and at ease, and he would just sit there and kind of reflect and feel like good throughout the process. He also would go into like a bathroom and look in a mirror and get super close, like right here, and he would look himself in one eye and say I love myself out loud. We'll just get to that point, but he was more open to all these different like ideas and ways of helping to open up and kind of be more accepting in life towards himself. He also says that we need to say I love myself out loud. He says this first because we need to just hear it from ourselves. Once we hear it, it'll kind of sound just not real at first, which it won't be real if you're trying to work on your self-love, but it will eventually get there. And he wants us to keep repeating this, and the reason why is because repetition gets stuff into our heads and makes it hard to forget. So the repetition will turn this into a habit, and we will start to feel happier in our lives. And then going along with that, it just makes life feel easier because you're more happy and you're more open, and hearing yourself say that will make you feel better in the end. And then he lastly says that lying is okay. What I mean by this is when you do say I love myself out loud or say self-positive things, it can be hard to kind of accept it, so you need to lie to yourself, and then that will eventually get normal, and it will turn into kind of you just getting the habit of saying it and won't be lying anymore if you feel happier with everything. He says though, try to mean it as you say this out loud because it'll be a lot easier to get in the habit and accept it. And you really need to like lie to yourself and just kind of, even though you have bad memories and struggles that happened before and are happening now, you need to just keep going through, pushing through and saying it and feeling kind of trying to feel happier about everything, as it will definitely help the whole self-love process. So he, in his book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, Ravikant states, quote, looking into your left eye, say, I love myself. Whether you believe in that moment or not isn't important. What's important is you're saying it to yourself, looking into your eyes where there is no escape from the truth. And ultimately, the truth is loving yourself, end quote. So that was just kind of him explaining at the end, saying that he was looking in the mirror, kind of how he felt and what will eventually happen. So it's hard because we know it, but we have to fake everything until it is real and through all these struggles and kind of bad memories. So I decided to choose 3 of these ideas and concepts to apply to my life. The first one was opening up to myself. really focus on not being hard on myself and putting myself down when comparing myself to others in different situations. And I faced more hands-on what made me sad and why I kind of struggled with this. And that really helped um, kind of open everything up and put in perception of life, like, why am I sad? Okay, but I have all these things making me happy, and it kind of just really helped to open up and not get sad over small things. I also decided to have just a more, in general, positive outlook on life. Like I said before, you really need to focus on what makes you happy and what's going on in your life that's good, and kind of cut out like the bad thoughts that you have, because these just cut you down. And I also looked towards like successes I've had in the past and the goals that I have in the future. Especially just setting small goals for yourself is helpful, because you can reach them easier and quicker, so it kind of keeps you more motivated and going with it. And lastly, I did repeat I love myself out loud over and over. Like he said, at first it'll feel weird because you know that you're lying about it, and you're just kind of faking it, but it does get a lot kind of easier to remember to say it and stuff. Like I said, also it'll kind of get into the habit, and with being more open along with that concept that I applied, repeating this over and over, I was open to it later as we went on, so I did it more, so it helped myself more. So in conclusion, I found many of these techniques and tips helpful throughout the semester, and I know that I will continue to do this when the semester ends, because I feel like a longer time that you're at it and practice it, the more chance it'll stick with you and actually improve everything as a whole. So Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It by Kamal Ravikant focuses on what we can do in our everyday lives and how we can do what we did throughout our lives, how it can make our lives just as a whole better, and how we can love ourselves more. So like I said, you need to open up to yourself, repeat I love myself out loud, and lying is okay. Overall, I think this would be pretty beneficial for anybody to read, even people who do feel confident in self-love. I think that this book is a good read for anybody to improve their self-love and kind of life as a whole. Thank you.